God calls us to be generous, but He also calls us to be wise. While the Scriptures remind us to help those in need, we must vigilantly discern who merits our energy and resources. Our help should uplift others and not enable destructive patterns. Have you ever found yourself pouring your heart, time, and resources into someone who just doesn't seem to get it? A friend, a family member, or perhaps even a colleague who continuously drains your energy without ever taking responsibility for their life choices. It's easy to feel guilty about drawing boundaries, especially when we've been taught that helping others is the virtue we should aspire to. However, diving into a cycle of enabling can tear us down, leaving us exhausted and unfulfilled. There's a wise saying that goes, "You can't pour from an empty cup." If we devote ourselves to helping those who show no desire to change, we're at risk of losing sight of our own purpose and peace. In this message, we'll explore the biblical principles regarding the types of people we should be cautious of helping and how we can maintain our strength while still aspiring to assist those who truly need it. The lazy and idle. Picture this: you have a friend who is constantly complaining about their financial situation. You see potential in them and decide to lend a helping hand. Perhaps you cover their rent, buy them meals, or even assist with job applications. Yet week after week, you find them lounging on the couch, engrossed in the latest binge-worthy series instead of seeking work or improving their situation. Their laziness becomes a burden, and your generosity is not met with gratitude, but rather with expectations. The Bible is clear when it comes to laziness. Proverbs 10:4 states, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." The Apostle Paul reinforces this in 2 Thessalonians 3:10, saying, "If anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat." In helping the lazy, we may think we're being kind, but in reality, we could be doing them a disservice. By rescuing them from the natural consequences of their actions, we rob them of the lessons that could spark true change. Consider the parable of the talents in Matthew 25:14-30, where the servant who buried his talent out of fear was rebuked by his master. This shows us that God desires us to use our gifts wisely and take responsibility for our life. If we consistently help the lazy, we enable their complacency, hindering their growth and potential. The ungrateful. Now let's talk about the ungrateful. Imagine you consistently assisted someone in need, covering their bills, lending your ear during tough times, and supporting their dreams. Yet they never express gratitude. They see your efforts as a given and entitlement as if you owe them. This situation often leads to bitterness and exhaustion on your part. Jesus reminds us in Luke 17:19 of the 10 lepers He healed, where only one returned to thank Him. He asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? This excerpt highlights the importance of gratitude. The Bible warns us in 2 Timothy 3:2 of a time when people would be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, ungrateful, unholy. Helping the ungrateful is like pouring water into a bottomless pit. The more we give, the more they demand. Instead of feeling guilty about retracting your support, choose to protect your peace. The more you sacrifice for ungrateful people, the more they will exploit your kindness, leaving you feeling drained. Remember, whatever you refuse to appreciate, you will eventually lose." The proud and arrogant. Think of the person who is so confident in their own abilities that they refuse to accept help or advice. Perhaps it's a colleague who dismisses your suggestions outright, believing their approach is the only way to succeed. Pride can be blinding, leading one to reject wisdom and guidance from others. Proverbs 16:18 declares, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." King Nebuchadnezzar serves as an example. He lost everything when he declared, "Is not this the great Babylon I have built?" Daniel 4:30. God will not bless arrogance. The proud person often cannot be helped because they cannot see their need for help. James 4:6 states, "God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble." If you find yourself repeatedly trying to assist someone who is arrogant, recognize the futility in it. You cannot correct someone who believes they are always right. Remember the words of Proverbs 26:12. Do you see a person wise in their own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for them. Sometimes the most loving action is to step back and allow the consequences of their pride to teach them what you could not. The wicked. Wickedness is a serious concern in our world. Many can be charming and deceitful while harboring intent that is anything but pure. You may encounter individuals who mock God's principles, engaging in actions that go against everything you believe. Perhaps you've met a family member who embraces behaviors that are destructive, subtly encouraging others to join in. Proverbs 29:1 warns, "Whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy." The example of Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus for silver, reveals the consequences of colluding with wickedness. Supporting or enabling those who engage in wicked behavior compromises your own integrity. When you lend your help, be cautious not to inadvertently approve of their actions. Set boundaries with those who invite you into their darkness. Speak truth into their lives, but make it clear that you will not partake in their wrongdoing. Pray for them, but refuse to support their sinful choices. God calls us to stand for righteousness, and as the Bible clarifies, associate with those who promote godly principles. The foolish remember the saying, "A fool learns nothing from a wise man, but a wise man learns much from a fool." While it holds an element of truth, it is often misleading. Engaging with foolish individuals can lead to your detriment. A fool hears wisdom, yet continuously rejects it. Proverbs 13:20 admonishes, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Is there a friend in your life who keeps making the same poor choices, returning to toxic relationships or unhealthy habits despite your counsel? Time and again, they come back for advice, but you're met with stubbornness or refusal to change. Proverbs 26:11 illustrates this clearly. "As a dog returns to its vomit, so fools repeat their folly." You cannot save them. If they choose to ignore good counsel, no amount of your input will be effective. You may only find yourself emotionally drained. Often the best course of action is to distance yourself and let them stumble through their mistakes. Sometimes life's lessons are the hardest but most powerful teachers. The dishonest and manipulative. Let's examine the manipulative individuals who wear a mask of sincerity. They seem to be in genuine need, but their intentions are twisted. They see you as an easy target to fulfill their selfish desires. Perhaps they always come to you for help, spinning tales that tug at your heartstrings, but deep down you sense something isn't right. Proverbs 12:22 explicitly states that the Lord detests lying lips, but He delights in people who are trustworthy. Manipulative individuals have mastered the art of using guilt, and their charm often serves as a facade to hide their deceptive nature. Instead of feeling compelled to assist every needy person, use discernment. Genuine need can often be distinguished from manipulative requests. Your kindness should be met with respect and integrity, not deceit. If someone has proven themselves to be dishonest in their dealings with you, distance yourself and seek what God has called you to do. You are not required to be anyone's fallback plan if their past behavior raises red flags. Beloved, God calls us to be generous, but He also calls us to be wise. While the Scriptures remind us to help those in need, we must vigilantly discern who merits our energy and resources. Our help should uplift others and not enable destructive patterns. As we navigate our relationships, let us thoughtfully ponder, are we investing in the right people? Are we pouring into good ground, or are we wasting our efforts? We are called to help those ready to change, heal, and grow into their God-given potential. If we find ourselves continually drained by those who refuse to change, it's time to step back and seek God's guidance. Pray for discernment and wisdom as we strive not only to protect our peace, but also to maximize our impact. In the end, when we choose to help wisely, we will see growth and transformation blossoming in the lives we touch, and in turn, experience the fulfillment that comes from our intentional support.